Hey, how's everyone doing? Welcome. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Monday edition of the Monday Afternoon Live with Kurt. And we get together every single Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to draw, usually something that has to do with a landscape. In today's video, I'm going to show you probably the number one trick, not even a trick, or a thing you should use in order to create depth in your pictures. And actually, there's a couple of them, but this is one that I want to really highlight for you. But anyhow, before we get to that, if you're brand new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. If you're here because of our Facebook group, awesome. If you're looking for a community that you want to get together with, our Facebook group is the way to go, and you can get access to that down in the description. Okay, all that housekeeping stuff in order, moved it out of the side. I am here live, so if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat, and I will be happy to answer them for you. All right, let's get to work here, right? Let me bring this up. Start this here. We should have some interlude music right here. All right, enough of that. Okay, here we are. So this is every Monday we always vote on the picture that you want to draw, and I put your choices all into. Hey Sharon, what is up? I always put the choices in our Facebook group, and this was the winner today. So let's jump right into this. But I know you are all dying to know what the trick is when it comes to creating depth into your picture, and I'm going to show that to you right now. Ta-da! It is overlap. Look at this. I know you're like, what? That's it? I know. Listen, this is a great, when you start thinking about the power of overlap, you really end up creating depth into pictures. Okay, so this would be my number one go-to when it comes to creating depth. Think of overlap. What overlaps what? Be conscious of this idea. Okay. Number two, and since this will be a free bonus here, we'll talk about. Number two is to use atmospheric perspective. What do I mean by that? This idea here. So let's pretend like we have another ball here, and we're gonna tone that with a tone right there, okay? And then we have another one in front of it. Look at that. We're even using overlap again. And then we have one in front of that. So what we're saying of this idea that an object, especially in a landscape, an object that is lighter usually looks like it goes far back in depth. So keep your lighter values toward the back, keep your darker values towards you up front, right? That's a general rule, but typically your eye will always go toward the light. So you're creating the stage where you just want to, get back into the picture. So those two things that you could use is overlap and atmospheric perspective. Atmospheric perspective. That's a big word. All right. The lighter the value, the further back. The reason why that is there's more atmosphere between you and that object. And the more atmosphere, the lighter in value it gets. Hey, next time you're driving outside and you look at mountains in the distance, they're hazy a little bit. Well, it's because of all that atmosphere. All right. Let's get into this. All right. So I'm going to take that away, bring up our picture here, and let's get right into it. Now, when we draw our picture, I would recommend that you stay away. Don't draw it like an 8x10. Make it smaller. Go by 4x5 or 3x7, 5x7. Don't get too much bigger because we're going to try and cover a lot of ground here. And if you are going really big, trying to get coverage with tone is going to be a little bit harder. So, all right, let's get into this. First thing I'm going to do is start off with a, and if I go too fast, please just say something in the chat and I'll slow down for you, okay? Let's start off with a border so we have some type of framework of what we're working in on. Okay, let's start way in the back here and get this mountain here. And what I'm looking at when I'm going to draw the outline of the mountain, I'm going to add a color here. We got that. And we got that. Okay, what I'm going to look for is this negative shape. That's what I'm going to try and draw right now, okay? I'm going to do it lightly. So we're just going to come down here. Okay, keep it light. Okay, let's come on down here and get the top of the river. So the top of the river is going to be right about in here. All we're really doing at this point is working out the general proportions. That means the area. So I'm just looking at big shapes right now. Okay, so let's take a look at this house here. And here's one edge of our frame and here's the other. And look, there's the edge of the house. So is that, where is that, almost middle? That's almost to the middle of the page there, right? So let's just kind of put a general line here. And what I'm looking for here is just kind of this shape. You see that? Just very lightly. All right, let's go to the other side here and get like this. Let's take a look at this here. Let's kind of get this side of the stream in. You see this? Okay, let's jump up to the top right here and look at this. This is really interesting. You got this kind of tree that's coming in here, just something like this. So let's lightly put that in as well. How far is that? That's coming out kind of far. So just something like that maybe, right? Big shapes. Okay, now look at the tree line. The tree line is over here. It's kind of coming down and then going back up like that. You see that? Now let's proportionally put that in as well. So we're gonna kind of scoop down here, and it's gonna come up there. Missed it again. Oh, Donna, we're just starting here. We're just starting. You're okay. Just starting. Just quickly, just throw these shapes on your page. You'll get it. Okay, so here's some other here's a real good shape. Look at this. This is an interesting shape here. This is the shape of that pine tree. Do you see that? So let's, before we drop it in, let's kind of, It's about a little bit taller than the house, and it's a little bit below it there. You see that? So let's lightly kind of put that in as well. Where's that going to be? Probably right about there. And then there's another one behind it. Look at that. Another one over there. Okay, the last big shape I want to put in, I really like this grove of trees right over here. You see that? So let's just kind of put that in a general way here. So I'm just gonna come in here like this. Oops. All right. We got some nice big squiggles, nice big areas here. All right, let's go ahead then. We're going to move on and work on, I'm going to work on the house here. I'm going to simplify the house just a little bit. So whenever I draw a house, I'm going to actually erase all this junk here. All right. Whenever I draw a house, any building whatsoever, the way I usually approach it is I ask myself the simple question, which corner of the house is closest to me? So this little, we're just looking at the main house here. So this is the corner that's closest to me. And then I want to think about this corner that's further away. And then this one that's way in the back there. You see that? And I'm going to ignore this little side house that's in front there. I'm going to ignore that entirely right now. So first line I want to put is the one that's closest to me. And before I drop it, what I'm looking for is how far is that from the side of the page, you see? So let's see. We're going to come out here maybe it's right about there. Then I'm going to, I'm going to see what's, quit out of this here. Hold on. File. There it is. All right. Let's get this other side over here. It's going to be maybe about there. And this I'm going to make this side a little bit shorter. So one thing I'm creating is a little bit of variation, and variation is important. You want to be very careful from making things exactly spaced apart. In fact, your brain will automatically want to make things even all the time, and you want to fight against that. You have to think about it. If you don't think about it, then you will just naturally make things even. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I kind of want to establish where my vanishing points are. And I could do that without even putting them in place. And I'm going to look at this. Look at that. Look at that angle right there. Okay. And then we've kind of got this angle right here. So let's get those two angles down. And then let's do it to the other side as well. They're going to angle up, and this is going to be angled down slightly. Okay, let's get the peak. Let's establish where this is. And we always do that by making an X down here. And then where that crosses, you're going to go straight up. So let's do that. Keep it light. All right. Go like that. Go like that. All right, so now look at this. Now this is fanning out from this vanishing point. Where someplace over here, we want to make sure that this is going to the same vanishing point. So we can just kind of guesstimate that idea. Just guesstimate that. Okay. Back end, let's get the back end here. And for us, we're just going to make that roof line parallel. In all reality, it's not exactly parallel, but for us, at this point, that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's get that wood trellis that's going straight down, okay? So once again, let's start off with the corner that's closest to us, and it's going to be this right, it's going to be that right there, okay? So I'm just going to come down here like the length of the cliff. And just put a little dot where you think it's going to be your length. How long do you want that? Now look at the right side over here. Look at over here where I put draw the little X. All of these lines are converging to the same point. Well, come down here to the dot that you have, and this is also going to have to converge to that same point. So just, you can see I've kind of just sketched a line multiple times so I can get a real sense of the right angle here, you see? All right, I'm going to do another vertical here. And then I'm going to make another vertical over here. And this one I'm going to make just, maybe a little skinnier. Something like that, maybe. Okay, same thing on the other side. Now look at this. This is coming in, this is going in. This other side's kind of converging there. So at that dot, just kind of guesstimate. Get that angle so that you can tell that this, and those lines are all going to converge on the same point somewhere out in the distance. Okay, let's get the top of this piece here. Look, there's a dot right there. So this is also going to converge. Just something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and build our ladder here. So I'm going to start in the very middle, of this long vertical line, and I'm just going to judge about where the center point is. That's right there is about the center point. Then the line to the right, I'm also going to judge that and get the center point. Now I can connect those dots. I'm going to go to that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. Just determine where the center is and then connect those dots. Then we're going to repeat that again at the bottom. So find the center, and you could do this for the whole entire column. Center. So once you have enough of these, then you could you don't need to do the centers anymore. You could kind of just draw the angles because you have enough guidance. I'm going to erase some of these little dots now. And we'll erase this over here as well. So for this, I'm going to skip that little extension. You could add that on your own if you like. But for right now, we're going to skip the little not the outhouse, but that outcropping of that log cabin. So let's go ahead and drop a tone in here. And let's also drop a tone on this side. We'll come back in with more detail a little bit later, but for right now, we're just going to drop a simple tone. And I want to add some little tone over here too for a little bit of shadow from the roof hanging over. I'm going to add the logs now on this house. So I'm going halfway. There's halfway right there. Same thing over here, halfway. And I'm just kind of doing this lightly. And then I'll add another one up on top. Another one down here. Keep it light. And then you could do the side of the house as well. Just keep your lines light. I'm going to add a little window here, and this, I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and black, and I'm going to add a little silhouette of something in that window up there. We don't know what that is. Could be a ghost. Add a little bit of extension and add a little shadow underneath there. And once again, I'm going to add a little other opening over here. But if I look at my picture, I really like how it has this piece of wood blocking the door just a little bit. So I'm just going to leave the negative shape. Let's keep working this area. I want to get into these rocks here now, I think. So look at the... Be careful when you draw these things. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like, let me bring up this thought here. I'm going to make my drawing disappear for a second, okay? If I bring up this idea of a rock here, all right? So there's this form that's kind of coming out of the ground, okay? As I'm drawing a rock, I'm always thinking of the different sides to it. So if I would do an overall tone in this, and then I would think of, okay, maybe this side's in the shadow side, so I'm gonna darken that edge over there. You see that? And then some of the details might be, oh, I've got this edge coming in here, and then maybe it changes direction like this, you see? And then even this corner might get some different, it may not be perfectly square, you see? But what I'm trying to do is create edges. Some edges are going to be sharper than others. Some edges are going to be softer than others. So I just keep working this rock to really start to try and get these angular shapes to it. You see what I mean? I'll leave that up there for a second. All right, let's do that. Let's look at these rocks down here. So let's see. I'm going to draw right here. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of get the overall shape, and I'm going to go in and add tone to it. So if I'm looking at these rocks, this is what I see. I see this shape coming down, and then right here, look at this. You see how that changes? It's the band, not the bands, what do they call that? The layers, the rock layers. Look at these. See, that looks really interesting to me. Let's try and copy that. All right, so I'm going to come up here like this. This is going to go down the face of our waterfall. There's one. Okay, now let's make sure we keep this uneven. We don't want to make this perfectly even. So there's another one. And I'm doing it lightly because these things are going to be guides for me. Close one right there. Now this is going to be flat over here, so I'm just going to continue these stripes coming down just like that. Now look at this in here. Now this is where you're really going to be a big difference. Look at that rock right there. You see that? See how it has a light side and a darker side? Let's put that in. So the way that I'm going to put that in is I'm going to start with a general tone to the right side here. Put a tone right there maybe. Okay. Okay, now look closely at this because this is interesting. Look closely at the face. That little edge. You see that little detail right there? This might be like this, something like this. And I'm going to darken the area to the right of it so that brighter white pops off. Okay, I'm going to put some more in here now. Looking at the picture, now I want to make my rocks. Here's a decision that has to be made. We have this like ladder, and I want that ladder to come forward. I want my eye to go to the ladder. So if you want your eye to go to something, you have to make it lighter than the background that's around it. That will draw your light in. Your eye always goes to what is light. So I'm going to just kind of work in here and darken up the background there. Okay, I'm going to bring it right to the edge here. Just remember, your eye, you've got to make decisions sometimes. Okay, let's start with that next. We've got another row of rocks to build here. So let's come down here now and do that same thing. I'm going to darken in the edge here. Checking my value, making sure that both sides of this are similar in value. When I'm thinking of these rocks, I'm thinking of layering. I'm thinking of layering of the different layers of of sediment. I'm looking at the picture, adding some variation in tone. Okay, this wood ladder here, I'm going to start going back into it and making like thicknesses for these boards. Putting like a vertical board in the corner. Just thinking about my values. Now here's a decision I have to make on the right side of that wooden ladder. This is a little too, this area over here is still a little too bright for me. So I'm going to tone the whole thing in with a little bit of value because I don't want this to be as contrasty as it is right now. So in order to take away some of the contrast, I'm just going to give it an overall tone. Okay, let's jump now. This is kind of the mid ground. So let's jump to that mountain that's way in the back there. Now the picture of course has it pretty dark, but I'm gonna make an adjustment there. I'm not gonna go as dark. I'm gonna kind of keep it light because I want to use atmospheric perspective and make this look like it's way in the distance. Let's work on this tree right here. This is a nice tree here. So let's come in here. And I'm just going to tone in the general shape of that tree. Try and make this as solid as possible. Now looking at the base. We're going to come in with a little bit of an angle here. Look at that. That's like the ground. And we have a trunk that's coming up here. It stops short because we have branches that are in front of it. Another one. Keep it subtle. Okay, and I'm going to use these little, like just the tip of my pencil here, and just think of like, where's the shadowed area of these leaves? I'm going to get some scallops, like little U shapes like this, to get the outside edge of that. Look at this. This is interesting. Look at those dark, look at these dark shapes. You see those? Those are very interesting to me. So let's put those shapes in like silhouette, and they're and then there was going to be another one up here. So we'll just stick that up there like this. Okay. Now look across the stream there. Look at these. These are very interesting small trees there. You see that? Let's kind of put those in as well. Almost the same technique that we just did across the way. So I'm just going to add some tone here. I'm going to come right up to the side of my house. Now it looks like those trees it looks like those are in front of, in the picture to me, it looks like those trees are in front of my house, but in my drawing I'm going to make them behind. Okay? So in order to do that, I got to think of the values now. Look at the corner here. Look at this corner here. You see that corner of the house? I want one of those things to I want to separate that a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken just the edge of my house there just a bit, and just kind of fade it in. Look at that. See, now my eye goes right around that corner to the trees in the back there. See, when you're drawing, you can make all these different decisions to cause things to come forward. You're using overlap. You're using value to create depth. Late to the game. All right, Mr. Chris. All right, so check this out now. Now we've got some interesting trees that are going here. Ooh, look at the time. All right, look at those pine trees in the back here. Let's darken those pine trees as they are in the picture to make these trees make our eyes go to the trees. So when we do these pine trees, look, I'm just kind of zigzagging. I'm just going to zigzag my way down here, going back and forth. Trying to really think of these things as triangles. All right, this guy up here is gonna same thing. We'll do him I'm gonna try and make him just a little bit lighter in value. You want to know how I handled it? I didn't do it. I'm keeping it light, Chris, because I kept it light. I'll tell you why I'm going to keep it light. Because I am actually the trees that are in the foreground we haven't got to yet. I'm going to make those dark, so your eye is being drawn like beyond all of those. That's a decision that I've made separate from the picture, the way the photograph is. All right, we could add another pine tree back here. So much of this is like how change of values to make certain things pop off. Okay, let's put some tone in the mountain in this little area here that's between that mountain in the background and all these trees here. You see this? So I'm going to come in here with a little bit darker value of tone. It's tricky. You got to be aware of not to go too dark, but yet and the top of this one, I'm going to make it kind of spiky, so you get a sense that there's trees back here. I'm going to come back here and add a little more tone to this mountain in the back here. Wow, look at that. We got 5 minutes to finish this. We might make it. Okay, let's get some nice dark value. I'm gonna go back and forth this way to create land, to create the surface of the ground plane of the forest back here. You see that? Okay, let's focus then on this bush here that's on the left hand side here. Okay, so let's just put it. I'm going to come back in here with a big old tone. Add some value here so I could get this thing to come towards us. All right, so now I'm going to have this rock. Look at this rock kind of coming in here, just like this. The other thing is, as objects are closer to you, you're going to see more detail in them. So let's just... This bush here, I'm just going to add some spiny things. And then we'll put another bush in front here. See, we're creating overlap. And I am starting to really push down on my pencil here. We're going to leave the stream white right now so we can use that for foam and stuff, right? Okay, let's jump to the right side. And this is where I'm going to add these trees that are close. So look at this. I'm just going to come in here with some tone and value. Try to get a really even, darker value here. Going in here and thinking of leaves in the groups. Being very careful not to create a pattern. I do not want a pattern. I want this to have a random feel to it. Look at that, we're at an hour. All right. Instant depth. Thank you, my friend. Alter a photo. Yeah, absolutely. Chris says, alter a photo to make it work for you. Yeah, we're supposed to, we're supposed to be inspired by what we see. We don't have to copy it all the time. All right, you ready? We're going to jump into this waterfall real fast. So I want you to think of like stairs, okay? Stairs is what we want to think of. So our water is going to be coming up here. It's going to be flat. And then right here, let's cause it to have a little bit of some falls. It's going to be flat. And you could even add a little, I'm going to make the water somewhat calm right up to where it hits those, again, a little bit different than the picture. And once it gets down here, it's going to be flat again. Just really leaving the white of the page to get that water crashing down feel. Right where this cliff comes in contact with this water, I'm going to add a dark edge here. Oh, you're okay. Sorry for all the questions, but did you do the house a lighter value because it was very similar value to the rocks below? Yes, and in fact, I mean, I'm going to go back in and darken in this because I want this all to be part of. I want this house and this cliff to kind of be one unit. You see what I mean? A lot of times I'll talk about like organization of values. So, I want to see this as a large mass with detail on the inside. But a lot of times when you are starting to put values in, you can't really get a feel for how dark or how light to make something until you have all the values around it, you see? And a lot of times for me, like a picture will almost take a life of itself. I there's a lot of artists, guys, who like to plan a picture out, but sometimes, okay, Donna, keep going, go slowly, you got it. sometimes, like a lot of guys like to plan, or just people, artists like to plan some pictures out. I kind of want to have a general idea, and then a lot of times I'll just let it take a life of its own, you know. Some people like to work that way, others don't. Okay, I think that's going to do it today. Listen, I appreciate you guys watching, and if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and do all that great stuff. That's what I got for you, okay? My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this has been Monday Afternoon Live. We will see you guys later, okay? Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Chris and Donna and Sharon, thanks for chiming in. I love to see your guys chat. Or I love to see anyone's chat. Go out there and make your day great. Bye-bye.